Hello and welcome. Let's take a look at our top story this hour. While we love variety and look for it in everything we indulge in, from dishes at a restaurant or while buying a new mobile phone or a dress, we earnestly look for new varieties. But new variant is a word that instills a collective fear. The SARS-CoV-2 virus has been mutating over the last 3 years, causing chaos globally. And finally, it seems that the virus is starting to run out of steam. But then there is China, the country where first infection was reported. But before we talk about the latest variant in China, let's try to understand how the virus mutated, causing death and pain globally. So when a virus spreads rapidly, it infects more hosts and has greater opportunities to replicate. While replicating or copying itself, there are small errors, and thus it leads to mutations. Now, these mutations are called variants. While most mutations are inconsequential glitches, they do not affect how the virus works in a significant way. Some mutations may even be harmful to the virus itself, but a small fraction of mutation can make the microorganism more potent. For example, it makes the virus more infectious. So what do we do? Well, it's not possible to stop the virus from mutating, but we can strengthen our defenses and thereby stop the virus from spreading, hindering its process to replicate and thus stopping the rise of dangerous mutations. And to do this, we can get vaccinated, we can wear masks and practice physical distancing. The variants are classified using letters of the Greek alphabet, like the Delta and the Omicron variants. Now, Delta variant was highly contagious, about twice as contagious as the previous variants. The Delta variant grows more rapidly and deeper in the respiratory tract. According to a study, the Delta variant can carry 1,000 times the viral load as those infected with the original virus. In November of 2021, a variant of the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus emerged and was named Omicron by the WHO, which lists it as a variant of concern. It was highly contagious. Mutations gave it the ability to escape weak immune responses and to become more transmissible from person to person. But again, Omicron caused less severe disease than the Delta variant. So that's the history of the evolution of the variants. But what about the present and the future of the pandemic? Due to China's stringent zero-COVID policy, its population has a low level of immunity, and many lack the natural antibodies which are formed after infections. Now, 3 weeks since the communist regime abruptly eased the restrictions, the burden on medical facilities has increased amid the new wave of infections and the fears of new mutations. However, experts say that the world should be cautious, but there is no reason to panic. The COVID-19 outbreak that's hitting China is being caused by strains of the virus that have already circled the world. And according to officials at a global consortium that's tracking the pandemic, they say there are no signs yet of significant new mutations emerging. Now, for more on this, we're being joined live by Dr. Siddharth Kaur, who is an epidemiologist at the University of Bristol. Thanks for being with us, Doctor. How long?
Thank you.
How long until this pandemic becomes endemic?
So this pandemic in parts of the world has already started to become endemic. Pandemic is obviously a global phenomenon. And in parts of the world where there have been recurrent waves of infection, there's already a lot of immunity from vaccination. It is already becoming endemic. And I think after China has its waves of infection, we'll reach the position where the entire world can probably say that the disease is endemic.
Right, and take us through the difference between the variants of COVID-19 that we are seeing now, especially in China. And is there a chance of these mutations becoming a threat again?
So that question really has two parts. So what are we actually seeing in China right now? So based on the genomes of these variants that are deposited in databases by China, and there aren't very many of these genomes being deposited, the variants that we are seeing are what I call sublineages of Omicron. Now, in the word sublineage, you have the explanation there that these aren't really new variants. They are minor modifications of existing variants of Omicron. The Chinese population itself is very unique in the sense that it's had a rather free run without any COVID for a very long time. So it's naive to COVID. The vaccination perhaps isn't as effective as some of the other global vaccines. And so even a variant which might not be able to get a foothold in other countries right now is causing much more severe disease and hospitalization in China.
Doctor, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your valued insights there.
Thank you.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.